Played all night long in Memphis, through a hell of a jam. $100 in my pocket, hit the road down to Birmingham. On down to Mississippi, had to find myself a cup of joe. We rolled in about 2 a.m. to an all-night joint, smack down the middle of Tupelo. There said a girl, her name was Jane Marie, said she was a hoodoo queen. Still gray eyes, they had me mesmerized. Said she needs some company. Well, I knew better, but she knew best. But the very next thing I know, she got me in a spell, and I knew damn well I was about to stay the night right down here in Tupelo. She said, "What's your name, boy?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "What's your game, child?" She said, "It ain't no game." "How do you like it? Fast or slow? Well, makes no difference to me, 'cause it's all the same to me down here in Tupelo." Well, the sun, it hit me like a hammer, and I don't recall the night before. All I knew a little time with Jean Marie only made me want some more. I said, "I got to travel on down the road, babe, I'm booked and I got to go." She said, "You do what you want for a little while, child, but you can't stay away for long. You'll come back to Tupelo." Been 10 years since I met her, and she had me with a hoodoo charm. And the spell she got me under, never done me no harm. And I still rock her house on the weekend when the spotlights turn down low. Well, I wait my way to the place I stay, and I please my little hoodoo girl back home in Tupelo. I said, "What's your name, girl?" She tells me Jean Marie. She says, "Don't fight it, 'cause you belong to me." I said, "It don't matter none, 'cause I can come and go. You got your spell on me, and you know I always come right back out here now to Tupelo." Yeah, Tupelo, Mississippi.
This show brought to you by Stephen C. Galt and Carla Wallace for An Active Dog. Welcome to Take It From Tara.
So much going on in this town. We're so lucky to have an expert around. But when you need advice on what's really going down, take it from Tara. With so many choices, it ain't easy. Get the bang for your buck, give your dollar a squeezy. The girl's got the answer, you better believe me. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara.
And thank you to Korean Hetty for our fabulous jingle. Welcome to Take It From Tara. I am so happy to be with you tonight on this beautiful inauguration day, welcoming the second presidency of Barack Obama. We're so very happy that things have gone well in Washington today, and it's been a beautiful day in Louisville as well. We want you to welcome Take Two, a.k.a. June Kelly Roy and Commander Mike Mitchell. They are our fabulous duet for live music for today's show, so we welcome both of you, and we're very excited about the rest of our lineup today. We have a great show, Jackie Gulby's Talking Dogs, and they are adoptable animals from the Shamrock Foundation and the Animal Care Society. And we didn't let her bring them in because there are too many other things happening, but she's going to talk about them, and you will definitely want to take one of them home. Chris Hartman is talking progress on fairness in Kentucky, and that's very important, our fairness campaign in Louisville. Gail Benedict is in the house. She spent decades on Broadway before becoming the most beloved dance teacher at YPAS, the Youth Performing Arts School at Manual. And Sandy Montgomery, who's an incredible friend and inspiration, who is still beating the fatal disease that tried to claim her years ago, which is just an amazing story. Plus, our own Crescent Hill Radio's C.J. Cumberland joins us to share his love of country music via Cumberland Country. So let me introduce you to our musicians this week, a long history of playing around town. Thank you, Commander Mike, for that beautiful instrumental underneath our conversation. And now we'll talk. I love it. Gosh, it's like we've known each other for years and I just met you. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you very much.
You are more than welcome. So Commander Mike Mitchell and June Kelly Roy, all of you know June from many years performing around town and especially on the Crusade for Children. And you've always been my favorite performer on the Crusade, June. And June also was instrumental in the big fundraising effort and the support effort for Emmylou, the coonhound that could. And she has dogs of her own. Satchmo is one of our favorite shared animals. So thank you for being here tonight. How did you make up this duet? Because you've performed with a huge orchestra. You've performed doing your thing in the Navy. Tell us how you got together, June.
Well, I really wanted to go back to my roots of Holiday Inn lounges and supper clubs and just sit there and play good, beautiful music. And I've heard this wonderful guitar work of Mike Mitchell and sat with him, and we worked all these things out. And it's just a venue that I wanted to try to find, and it worked out for us together.
Fantastic. And thank you for your service, Commander. There's a reason why we're calling you that. You have a long and storied history in the Navy and more conduct medals and everything else than I can even begin to name.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate you. We're going to be hearing a lot more from them in the course of this wonderful hour. And first, we're going to talk about country music for just a minute, because one of the many shows featured on Crescent Hill Radio is Cumberland Country. Right. CJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tara. I'm glad to be here.
This is called Quid Pro Quo, because he had me on his show to talk about my show, and now I'm having him on my show to talk about his show. So it all works out great.
Fair, right?
You're a singer-songwriter yourself.
I am. And that's kind of how I came to be here at Crescent Hill Radio. Actually, submitted some music to Kathy, the station manager. And I mentioned that at that point, Crescent Hill Radio did not have a show that featured country music. So, I talked to her about that, and before you know it, I was the host of the show.
And every Thursday night at 6, you can tune in to Cumberland Country. You usually have a fantastic live guest musician.
I do.
Who's coming up this week?
You know what? We have a surprise guest next
week.
We
can't tell.
This week. But
it's
you know
June,
what?
Right? She's going to go from singing
We're going to
her
talk
music
about that. We're going to talk
country.
about that. But I do want to mention the 31st of this month, we have Cheyenne Marie Mize.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
I bet you one of our guests, Gail Benedict, knows her because she graduated from YPAS.
Maybe so.
Yeah, she's a pretty talented young lady.
She is.
Very exciting.
And I'm very excited to have her.
Well, I'm gonna have to walk over to the studio and meet her.
She is from Louisville here, but she's big time now.
She is big time. Yeah. She's hit it. So on Thursday nights at 6, as I said, Cumberland Country is the featured live show for the night. Right. And one of the biggest things that you've done in the last couple of weeks to me is you put on a great Townes Van Zandt tribute concert over at Jim Porter's. And you did a great job.
Thank you. I was just part of the many people that came together to do that. 10th year that we've had that here in Louisville, and of course Townes Van Zandt. If you're not familiar with his music, he's a great songwriter. I mean, he's not with us anymore.
Yes.
Thus the tribute.
Exactly.
But you were out there with us. You helped us out.
I loved it.
Crescent Hill Radio hosted a stage in the Melody Bar, and it's just a great event every year, January 1st, and we're hoping to be a part of that next year too.
It was a great way to bring in the new year, and we're planning other fundraisers, some for Crescent Hill Radio,
Sure.
so I'm not going to tell you the secrets about those, but be listening on both CJ's and this show and all the other great live shows to
Exactly.
hear about fundraisers if you support Crescent Hill Radio. Thanks for taking a few minutes to come in and talk to us.
Thank you, Tara.
I really appreciate it. And when we return, Jackie Gulby has two great opportunities for you to adopt animals. First, we want to welcome Carla Wallace as a sponsor this week for An Act of Dog. Listen to this. Mark Baroni is on a mission. The artist is well on his way to painting the portraits of 5,500 dogs who have been euthanized in shelters across America as a way to symbolize the number of dogs who lose their lives in shelters every single day. Mark and his partner Marina Durbin have dedicated their lives to creating An Act of Dog, and we invite you to see this incredibly poignant exhibit with us on February 7th, 5 to 7 p.m. at Melwood Arts Center, 1860 Melwood Avenue. Find out how you can support the permanent installation of An Act of Dog in Louisville, sponsored by Carla Wallace. I love having somebody accompanying me when I talk. I don't know about you, Jackie Gulby, but it's just the most extraordinary experience to have a guitar person follow you around, and just whenever you start to speak, they play music. Thank you. Take two, June Kelly Roy and Commander Mike Mitchell. So Jackie Gulby, welcome back to Take It From Tara.
It's good to be here.
It's great to see you. Last time we talked was on another show way in the past,
Yes.
and we've both moved so far forward in the last couple of years.
Yeah, lots happened.
I love it, and I love the fact that you have a new and wonderful career at Udell Gardens. So before we talk about the dogs, tell us about what you're doing for Udell.
At Udell Botanical Gardens, I handle all the weddings and rental facilities. I do all the marketing and PR and advertising, and I put together a few of our special events. So
Perfect.
kind of a Jackie of all trades.
Perfect for you, and she does it all so well. That's the key thing. And you know, Jackie's a friend to all animals and rarely travels without at least one in tow.
True.
Scout and Mosey wanted to come in tonight, but we had a packed show, a lot of guests, and we thought it probably wouldn't be fair because they're not for adoption.
No, no, they've been stand-ins before, but they
That's
were
right.
okay with it.
Well, let's talk about who you are representing today, because you do a lot for a lot of animal shelters. The two that we're talking about tonight, I believe, are Shamrock and Animal Care.
Correct. Yes.
So talk to us
Yes.
about those two organizations and what they have to offer in the way of an adoptable animal.
Well, we'll start with the cat. Her name is Truffle, and she is with the Animal Care Society, and she has actually been there longer than any cat they have.
That's tragic.
It is sad.
It's not tragic in that the people there love to take care of the animals that they nurture, but I think that they would all rather be in a forever home.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the goal. That is the
That is the goal.
And I don't know why this little girl keeps getting looked over. She's about a little over a year old, so that tells you basically how she's been there since birth, pretty much.
Wow.
She's a domestic long-haired tortie, so
Aw.
kind of the caramel and the
Yeah,
gold and the
yeah.
yeah, real pretty girl. And they say she is super friendly.
Aw.
So very outgoing, which I prefer. I call them dog cats.
Yes,
I prefer
exactly.
cats that are more outgoing and you know, that have personality, as opposed to, yeah, everybody to each their own, but as opposed to the ones you never see.
Exactly. The ones that
I wanna
take
see my
shelter
pets.
and hide.
Yeah, I want to interact. That's kind of the whole idea. But she loves to be with people. She likes to explore, so
Yes,
that's kind of fun.
it
You know,
is.
see what they get into, and she's on the petite side, so and with wanting to be a lap cat, that's a good thing.
It is.
And just a really great girl. She does have one dietary restriction. She needs to be on a grain-based diet.
Okay.
That don't go, oh my gosh, it's going to be expensive. It's not.
It's not.
It's just what she needs. How she needs to get her nutrition.
Yeah, well, it's like you go into feeders or you go into a shop to buy food, and there are a million choices. You can get chicken, you can get lamb, you can get potato.
Kangaroo.
Brady's on
sweet
potato
potatoes.
and duck, of all things. One of them's on lamb, one of them's on chicken. Keeping them from eating each other's food is my biggest challenge.
I bet.
Yeah. So grain-based is no big deal.
Right.
Okay, so that is, have
Truffle.
you given a name?
Truffle.
Truffle is from Animal Care.
She is,
All
yes.
right, and how would we get in touch with Animal Care?
You can call them at 426-6303.
Okay.
Or you can go on their website. You
Animal
just-
Care Society.
Exactly.
And
out
they
on
have a
Westport
Facebook
Road.
page.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're plugged in.
Bunny Zeller runs Animal Care Society,
Yes, she
right?
does.
Okay, so you
Absolutely.
can get in touch with them. If you have any questions, just email me at tara@crescenthillradio.com, and I can answer those questions too. Okay, who's the puppy? Because, June, don't look. You're going to want to add this one to the family. Who's the dog?
I was responsible for one of hers.
All right, who's the puppy?
Okay, we have Bambi.
Oh.
And Bambi is also sort of one that's been kind of overlooked for reasons unknown and not understood.
How?
She's 6 years old. You
She's
see her
beautiful.
picture. Yeah, she's 52 pounds of love.
Yeah.
And she's kind of a sandy buff color. Isn't that how you would describe her?
Yeah, she's gorgeous. She's blonde with kind of cocoa-tipped ears.
Yes.
Is how
and
I
then
would
a little
describe
dark
her.
around her muzzle. It's a little
Yes.
darker. She's a Shar-Pei lab mix, and you can see the Shar-Pei in her face.
You
She
can.
has that concerned but look.
The wrinkled
yes,
forehead.
yeah, but not. She doesn't have the wrinkles that need the facelift work like some do.
Yeah,
So you
or
don't
the
have to-
smashed into the glass smashed face.
Yeah,
She's,
exactly.
She's actually more lab in the way she looks, and especially with those beautiful dark eyes set in that blonde face.
Yeah, she's a very attractive girl, and she's
Yeah.
she's sort of a stout girl. Not fat, but she's got some muscle on her.
Yeah, she is muscular.
She would be better suited in a household with older children.
Okay.
And as the only dog, she
Okay.
wants to be the queen bee.
Understand completely.
Yes, we can relate.
I have
to that.
one of those in my household of 5 dogs. And it's a forever challenge, right?
Oh yeah, there's
Wyatt
always
would like to be an only dog.
yeah.
Tough luck, buddy.
And right. But you can certainly work around that. She's being kenneled. She's with the Shamrock Foundation.
Good.
And Shamrock does not have a shelter, so all of their animals are either in foster homes or they work out arrangements with different boarding facilities.
Yes.
And she has been at a boarding facility for far too long.
Yes.
And she really, at 6 years old, deserves and needs to be in a forever home.
Yes, she does.
So she, being kenneled, that's just, it's just not a natural habitat for a dog. They want to
No.
socialize with people, and they need to get out and just be out in the world. And she's definitely a great dog, and just needs somebody who's patient and has time and is willing to give her a second chance.
And there are many normal people in this world, unlike me, who only want to have one dog. So Bambi would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, the question I have for you is, why are you representing these two particular shelters? There are so many to choose from in Louisville, these two organizations.
Well, it goes back 20 some years. I've always had, even when I started out in the animal field, I was with the Kentucky Humane Society, and I always thought it was important that everybody work together
Right.
and help each other, point out what the niche and play to the positive, when people are looking for help. And so I had the opportunity to reach out to Shamrock and Animal Care, and when I was doing all my different adoption segments, to get them in the fold, to give them some equal
Wonderful.
promotional opportunities, and it's just sort of continued on that way.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about both of these organizations is that they adopt, they foster, they plan for animals to get into shelter environments or kenneling environments where they will be safe while the process of searching for a forever
Right.
home goes on, as opposed to automatically saying, time's up, you got to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of my dearest friends now, Mark Baroni and Marina Dervon, are creating this wonderful museum of portraits of the 5,500 animals a day who die in the United States, and it's called An Active Dog. And you're going to be coming to the cocktail party on the 7th of February. I just want you to know.
Okay.
Yes, you are, at the Melwood Arts Center to support them, because they really are hugely advocating for people to do just what Animal Care and Shamrock are doing.
Well, great.
Yeah,
great.
which is provide homes, adopt, and foster.
And spay neuter.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you got to
Yeah.
cut off the pipeline. That's, for every person born, there are 45 dogs and 45 cats, and 15 dogs born.
Absolutely.
Backwards. 45 cats and 15 dogs. It's been a while since I've said that.
That's okay.
But you can't adopt your way out of it. Not everyone, and that would mean for you and Terry, you have to double that.
That's
'Cause
right.
each person
That's
has
right.
to take in that number of animals.
That's exactly right.
And it's just not possible. So we really have to educate people about the importance for the pet overpopulation and for the individual animals to get them spayed and neutered.
And that's, again, bringing all of the groups together and all the belief systems in order to save lives, which
Yes.
is the whole thing, to stop overpopulation of unwanted animals, but also to save the lives of those who are here
Right.
on this earth to be our friends and to be our companions, and really who many times save our lives.
Oh, they give a lot. They give so much back.
They certainly do.
In their short time.
And
Yes.
you know what? I'm really excited about the fact that you got to come in, and I want to have you back because I would like you to talk about Udell.
Oh,
on
I'd
another
love to.
show. Would you do that?
Oh, without a doubt.
That would be fantastic because there's so many awesome things that go on out there. And it's like the #1 bridal destination, I think, in the state of Kentucky at this point.
It's for an outdoor venue. We are the premier venue, and we also last year were designated as one of the top 10 botanical gardens in the country to see by Horticulture Magazine.
See, that is
a lot
so
of people
awesome.
don't realize that.
That's
it's quite
right.
a gem.
Well, and we have so many things that are unique to our city that get national press and don't get a lot of local recognition.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I always like that idea of being a tourist in your own town.
Yes.
Because there are so many things. You're too busy doing the day in, day out stuff that you don't take time to really see what your town has to offer unless somebody comes from out of town,
Yes,
and then you
absolutely.
surprise yourself, gee, I've never been there, or
Yeah.
I haven't been there in 20 years.
I want to take people to see unique things about Louisville, but I have no idea what they are. So Udell Gardens is one of those. An Active Dog is another one of them. We've got so much going on in town.
Yes.
And I want to interview every single person that has something unique.
I bet you will.
Yeah, and I
No
have, actually. But I have to keep reminding people. Jackie, thanks so much for taking the time. Give
Sure.
us, real quick, give us the Shamrock Foundation number.
Absolutely. It's 585-3220. And of course, they have a website and Facebook page as well. So,
Yes.
so easy to find both
Animal
of them.
Care Society adopt Truffles, the cat, and Shamrock Foundation adopt Bambi, the dog. They are both beautiful adoptable animals, and we want you to take one of them or both of them home if you can today. That'd be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
Jackie
It would make
Colby,
my day.
thank you so much for coming
Thank
in
you
and
for
being with us. I
having me. It
really
was great.
appreciate it. You can find a bunch of adoptable animals at petfinder.com because it features all of the various shelters and adoption agencies in town. So that's a good one. Or you can go ahead and email me at tara@crescenthillradio.com. I'll be glad to answer your questions. When we come back, Chris Hartman and Fairness. In the meantime, please enjoy the music of Take Two.
Willow, weep for me. Willow, weep for me. Bend your branches down along the sea that runs to stream. Listen to my plea. Listen, willow, and weep for me. Gone, my lover's dream, lovely summer's dream. Gone and left me here to weep my tears into the stream. Sad as I can be, hear me, willow.
Cut this off. I hate to stop you from singing, but you're doing such a beautiful job. And I still have to talk to people, but we're going to be back with Take Two again in just a minute. June Kelly Roy and Commander Mike Mitchell. Chris Hartman joins us for Fairness. Welcome, handsome.
I'm happy to be here again.
I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to have you. I'm happy to have you anytime you want to come in to talk about anything because you brighten my day.
Not as much as you brighten my.
Oh, I love mutual admiration societies. This is so great. Chris, you were supposed to be with us on, I think, the 17th of December or something.
Right.
But a small town in eastern Kentucky in Perry County made a monumental decision to be one of only 4 cities in Kentucky that believes that everyone should be treated equally. And you had to drive there. It was long driving, 4 hours or something.
Almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
Way up into the hills of Appalachia.
Yeah.
Did we twist and turn our way?
Yes.
Into the small mining town of Vico.
Vico, named after a mining company.
Virginia Iron, Coal, and Coke Company.
Wow.
Population, do you want to guess it?
334.
You've got it. To the nose. You are right.
Except there was a baby born yesterday, so it's 345.
335.
But isn't that incredible that Louisville, Lexington, and Covington are the 3 cities that have signed fairness ordinances.
And our 3 largest, right?
Yes. And then Vico joins the crowd. What in the world? What happened? How did they get into the idea that we should all be treated equally?
I just think rural America is going to turn the tide on the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender fairness issue. Folks don't realize that in these small communities that are so tight-knit that, everybody's got to get along. You're going to see everybody throughout the course of the week.
That's the key.
And so these are the communities that we're seeing really get this principle of everybody deserves to be given a fair shake when they're looking for a job, when they're looking for an apartment, or trying to just to find a place to eat or go to the grocery store. These are basic American principles and values that everybody should be treated fairly and equally. And a place like Vico gets that. Now why Elizabethtown and Bowling Green and everyone else haven't jumped on board yet? Berea's been inching slowly forward, but Vico beat them all to the punch.
I love that. Now, I think I remember studying at some point in history class that Kentucky was one of the first to pass the 1960 Human Rights Act.
Right.
1960. This is 2013. Where is there a difference between human rights for African Americans and human rights for gays, lesbians, transgenders,
for all minorities? And that's the way that we look at it. And it's so poignant on a day like today, on Martin Luther King Day, on the inauguration, the second inauguration of our first mixed race president. I mean, look at all of these accomplishments in the civil rights movement. We got to think Kentucky has to keep its spot on the cutting edge. We are the Southern civil rights leader. We were the first to do the Civil Rights Act in the South. We were the first with a Fair Housing Act in 1968. And if we don't pick up and carry the legacy on and become the first Southern state to completely ban discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, a state like Georgia is going to sneak up behind us and take that title away from us. And it's going to be a little embarrassing.
It's going to be real embarrassing if you've ever been in some of the places in Georgia.
I'm just saying, Kentucky's got
can beat
to
them
be
to the
there.
point.
And Vico hopefully has inspired us all. It's now the smallest municipality in America with an anti-discrimination fairness law.
Isn't that incredible?
And in the hills of rural Kentucky.
And you've been a huge part of that because, I've watched you grow this campaign that was started by a very small and incredibly important group of Louisvillians. And I've seen them, and I saw on the website them celebrating, that group of people celebrating the passage of that ordinance in Vico. And it's really turned into something bigger than you or me or anyone else in the room, and that's what I'm so impressed with. Fairness is stretched out across the state.
How'd we get from Louisville to coal country?
Isn't that amazing?
So quickly.
Very quickly. Well, it gives me a lot of hope that anyone who feels discriminated against is going to soon feel the impact of what Vico has done.
Right, and feel the impetus to do it in their own hometown. So, we're hoping that the Elizabethtown, Berea, Richmond, Bowling Green, and Shelbyville efforts will continue. We've got burgeoning movements in Prestonsburg and Frankfort and Moorhead and Murray and Danville and Owensboro,
it's grassroots. It's grassroots.
All over. And ideally, what we really want is a statewide law that's going to protect everyone uniformly. We're going to rally for that in the Capitol on February the 20th. It's a Wednesday. We've got carpools coming from the Fairness Campaign right here in the Crescent Hill neighborhood.
Wonderful.
At 7 and 8 a.m. And so we hope folks will join us and visit fairness.org to find out more,
I hope so, too. And, you guys have what's called now the Fairness Alliance. It's no longer just the Louisville.
Right. Our coalition is broader now.
Tell us about the members of the Fairness Alliance.
Well, it's the ACLU of Kentucky,
Yes.
ourselves, Kentucky Fairness Alliance, which is technically the statewide group,
Yes.
Lexington Fairness, and then the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights, our state's actual civil rights enforcement agency. So all those 5 organizations together form the Fairness Coalition that is really in charge sort of bringing resources to communities that desire them, meaning that we don't choose a city and arbitrarily go in and say, you all need a fairness ordinance, we're going to pass this here. We wait until constituents in the community contact our coalition, one of our organizations, and then we'll send staff members or board leaders down into the community to find out what they need to make their movement successful. And that's our only role, and we can't keep up with our inboxes now.
I love that.
I mean, can you believe, from every corner of the Commonwealth?
Because there is no reason to segregate us into groups anymore. No. In 2013, why should we even be worried about whether someone is black or white, gay or straight, whatever the differences? We need to come together.
And it's not even good for the economy. I mean, denying some people access, if you've got a restaurant and you're known for denying certain people access, your restaurant's ultimately not going to succeed. And you look at Vico, a town of 334, this is probably going to make a massive impact. I'll bet you that tons more people know the name of the city of Vico now than they did before. And that
great public relations campaign.
The antique shop that's there and the 5 other businesses in the community are probably going to experience a little more tourism now.
Absolutely.
And so it's good for the economy. We know 83% of Kentuckians support these types of anti-discrimination protections. The only disparity seems to be between what the public actually believes and what our politicians and our elected officials do. It is not in step in reflecting the actual values of Kentucky.
So we have to elect people who will, and that's the key right there.
Or convince them to do what's right.
What I want to know is what you did before you came to the Fairness Campaign. What's your background?
What didn't I do? Most immediately, I was Congressman John Yarmouth's press secretary on the 2008 campaign. His first, he was an incumbent and he was running for re-election. Before that, I just got my master's in drama. Before that, I was a Shakespearean actor that toured the nation.
Can you believe this?
A theatrical improviser. I started Project Improv, which is an improv troupe that had just celebrated its 10th anniversary here in Louisville. They take one word from the audience and create a full-length play.
I've seen that. It's hysterical.
Suggestion. It's crazy.
You still are a theatrical improviser.
Sometimes. Well, I do feel like I play one role now. Queer rights activist. And it's sort of 24 hours. I mean, yes, it's a part of me as well, but it's also, I get more screen time now than I did as an actor.
Well, and that's a tragedy because honestly, we need to not discriminate against actors either. We need more theater arts. We need more dancers and singers and musicians, and that's why we have Gail Benedict here today.
And that's amazing.
Because she is
love
pretty
some good
awesome.
Dance.
Yeah, you do. Well, I appreciate what you have shared with us, and what I'd like to once again reemphasize is the date for the lobby, and the buses are going to pick up where, what time, how do we get in touch?
Wednesday, February the 20th, 7 and 8 a.m. carpools from the Fairness Campaign office, which is at 2263 Frankfort Avenue, right next to Bourbon's Bistro. We'll rally in the Capitol at 1:30 p.m. on that day.
Awesome.
So fairness.org for more information.
Does it cost anything to go?
Not a penny.
Not a penny. It's free. It's fun.
It's free. And I know that some people are going to have to take off work, have to take off school. Legislators appreciate that sacrifice. If you have made that sacrifice, come down there and tell them what's important to you. They will remember it.
Okay, so I was walking into the Cathedral of the Assumption with my sister about a year ago.
And angels are heralding your arrival.
And angels are heralding her arrival. Certainly not mine. But we were going to Mass, and the Fairness Campaign was outside.
Ah, yes.
And you remember this so well because we gave each other a hug, and you put a button on Kathleen's shoulder. And she's so precious. And she said, "What is this for?" And you said, "It's about equal rights and fairness." And she goes, "I'm all for equal rights and fairness for everybody." And marched right into the church. And I love that because, here she is, a grandmother and a mother and someone who's, been born and raised to have a certain set of beliefs. And anyone can believe that anti-discrimination policies are absolutely essential.
And in line with all major faith. Christian principles are fairness principles. And that's why we had the action at the cathedral. And we're going to do it again this year. So Sunday, February the 17th at 4:45 p.m., we'll meet at George Garvin Brown Park, just around the corner from the cathedral.
Yes.
And we'll once again have a pilgrimage, a peaceful pilgrimage from that park to the cathedral entrance, where we'll simply stand in witness of our desire for the Archbishop Archbishop and the Catholic Church to come out in support of anti-discrimination fairness laws, like our previous Archbishop did.
Yes.
Archbishop Kurtz has been less receptive to the idea of an anti-discrimination ordinance than Archbishop Kelly, and he's been silent on it, on the issue
So
for
maybe
2
we can
years
make
now.
him vocal on it.
That's what we're looking for,
I
one
love
way
that.
or the other.
Good
So
for you, Chris
We'll
Hartman.
get there one day.
Thank you for taking time to be here with us and for saving the flowers that were sent.
Oh my,
too.
that was a fiasco.
Yeah, we got a beautiful
Glad you survived.
group of flowers from one of our guests who's coming up, and I'll show you in just a moment who that is. But as I lifted it out, the vase broke, and Chris saved it, and he repotted it for me. So it's all good now.
This is not before you were injured in the process. It was a moment.
There are no animals injured in the making of the show, but the hosts
Well, a
definitely
mammal.
do.
There was a mammal injured. Mammal injury.
Get out of here. Thanks so
you.
much
I love
for being
you so
with
much.
us. I
You
love
all are great.
Chris. Thank you. And we're going to tell you more about what's going on with so many different things as we continue to produce these wonderful shows of Take It From Tara. And next, we're going to be hearing from someone who trod the boards of Broadway before landing in our little town to teach a whole new generation of stars how to move. And in the meantime, Cree and Hetty, take it away. Thanks for this beautiful jingle that you've created just for Take It From Tara, two of the most talented musicians in the entire city, probably in the country, and even in the world. Here they are, Cree and Hetty.
So much going on in this town. We're so lucky to have an expert around. But when you need advice on what's really going down, take it from Tara. With so many choices, it ain't easy. Get the bang for your buck, give your dollar a squeezy. The girl's got the answer, you better believe me. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara.
Loving this music, Gail Benedict? Absolutely loving it.
Brings me back
Quiet
to those
nights, a quiet storm,
smoking clubs.
quiet chords from my guitar, floating on the silence that surrounds us. Quiet thoughts and quiet dreams, quiet walks by quiet streams, and a window looking on the mountains and the sea. How lovely.
Corcovado, right? I love it. Right. Fabulous. Quiet Night of Quiet Stars. Gail Benedict joins us. She was about to get up and start to dance to the music.
Always.
But you've been dancing all day, I bet, haven't you?
Not today.
No?
Today we had the day off.
Oh, that's right. Today
MLK
we had school
Day
off.
and the inauguration. So
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular.
Ooh, yeah.
I loved it. I loved Beyonce's version of the national anthem.
Oh.
She reined it in. She kept it as it was written, had a few little licks in there.
Yeah, she didn't go overboard.
Yeah, that's the key. I really like it to
But
be sung right.
the dress she was wearing was like, oh, girl, you must be cold.
It had to be bitter. It was bitter here. It had to be really bad there. So Gail Benedict, who, of course, we all know as the fabulous dance teacher at YPAS, had a long and storied history on Broadway. And I want to know how you got to the Great White Way.
By luck, mainly. You know, it's every career has every artist has their own journey, but I just followed my heart, and I ended up going to a school to major in dance called the California Institute of the Arts.
Wow.
And that's where I met my mentor, one of my mentors, Donald McHale.
Yes.
Who was a Broadway choreographer, and I ended up dancing in his dance company. And then because I could tap dance and he couldn't, he needed an assistant who could tap dance, so he hired me as his assistant, and he took me to Broadway as a assistant choreographer.
All those years of tap lessons actually paid off in a huge way, right?
Big time. Yeah.
So if you look on these websites, IMDb and IBDB, you're going to see Gail Benedict all over them, because basically it's databases of movies and databases of Broadway. And I had an absolute blast scanning through all of your fabulous videos. You did, you've got Fosse on there. You've got the Donald McHale stuff. You're on the Tony Awards. I can't even begin to name all of the different videos I found with you in them. And everybody always says, which one is Gail? And they always write the sexy redhead.
The one with the big grin on her face because she's having such a good time.
You are, and you always have had a great time. And when you went to New York City with Donald McHale, who is one of the great names in dance,
fabulous,
obviously. Yes. You started out, you said, as an assistant choreographer, and that just kept you going towards bigger and better things. What was the experience like to move from these icons in the dance world?
Well, I just kept jumping ship from one to the next because, in those days you could. I mean, you work with Gower Champion, you work with Michael Bennett, you work with Bob Fosse, you work with, Gower Champion.
She throws these names out like they're June Kelly Roy, Commander Mike Mitchell, and Tara Bassett. It's just amazing.
They were all contemporaries.
Yes.
And literally you sort of went from job to job to job. And, very often they would steal you from somebody else. Because when Chorus Line opened, Fosse was determined to steal all of his dancers that had been in Pippin that went to Chorus Line. He wanted them back for dancing.
Wow.
So it was a little bit like the trades they do in professional sports.
And you actually were the person who recreated dancing.
Yeah,
and brought it back.
I was very, very lucky. Bob wanted people who had been in dance companies, not just gypsy showgirls.
Right.
And I had that background, so he wanted a small group of us to work on this show that was pure dance called Dancin', and he hired 7 of us to do the workshop.
Amazing.
And we spent almost half a year. Just him and us in a studio building the show, and then ultimately it opened and it was a hit. It was his biggest hit he ever had.
It was huge.
And so, of course, once you have a hit, then other productions go out. The national company, the bus and truck company, the international company,
yes.
On and on. The Japanese company. And invariably, it falls to the lieutenants. Mr. Fosse wouldn't do it. And this is what happens generally. They go on to do other things, but the middle management people, the dance captains, the stage managers, they are given the responsibility to recreate the work.
And you were one of those.
And yeah, I did that for him for about 6 years.
How incredible that is. Mm-hmm. What was the key thing about Bob Fosse that you had to know to work for him successfully?
Basically, just do what you were told.
That's what happens to June, too. That's why Mike is so well trained.
I do what I'm told.
Or do as much as you could all the time, and never, ever, ever, Mark, take it easy.
Oh, no, go full
Work
out.
100% all the time.
You came into Louisville, I think, via Actors Theater. Is that right? Did you?
Yeah, I came down out after 20 years doing shows. I wanted to go legit. I wanted to do non-musicals, so I got my agent to get me auditions for the Humana Festival.
Which is a big deal.
Big deal. Oh, yeah. So I got cast in a couple of new Humana plays and came down to work at Actors Theater, and then I met John Jory, and then ultimately I ended up getting asked to stay and do a season.
Yes.
And then I was in and out of town, but ultimately, I ended up living here in Louisville and found out about the Youth Performing Arts High School.
Right.
And they were starting at that time a musical theater program.
That's amazing.
And through the grapevine, I ended up going and interviewing them because I thought, I don't know if I want to go back to New York.
She interviewed them. Get it?
Well, I really did. I didn't mean that.
I know, but I love that.
Because I wasn't sure. I said, I don't know what I want to teach, but I'm not sure in what kind of venue. And,
sure.
And it was so exciting because later, it was 5 years later, one of the alums came back and said, Gail Benedict, you changed my life. I said,
wow.
What are you talking about? She says, you came to our school here and stood in this auditorium and talked to us about what the real life in the theater was like. Because I had come through town with 42nd Street.
Oh, my gosh.
And
Isn't
had
that
gone
amazing?
to YPAS, seen one of their shows, talked to them, encouraged them to pursue their dreams, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until 5 years after I'd been actually teaching there that I realized it was the same school.
Oh, no. That's incredible.
Because every town we hit, I used to go and do that. I used to do master classes or do lecture demos or something.
And you also got your own master's in fine arts, I believe, while you were starting your career here in Louisville.
Yeah,
right?
I finally had time to sit down and go back to college and get my MFA in directing, and almost finished my PhD, but
You're still working on that.
I'm still working on that.
That's a life progress, really. That's a big job. So you're co-directing the musical theater program at the Youth Performing Arts School, which is attached to Manual High School.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I know that you have a big season ahead. So can you give us the highlights?
Well, coming up very soon in February, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th is our grand dance concert.
Great.
Our dance concert consists of every style of dance. We have classical ballet, modern, we have jazz, we have tap, we have goofy. We have Busby Berkeley even this year.
Awesome.
So yeah, on the Friday and Saturday of February 22nd and 23rd at 7:30.
Yes.
And then Sunday at 2 p.m.
And you've got to see it because, first of all, it's a beautiful venue.
Oh, it's huge. We have a 900-seat house.
You guys always put on a great show. And, you know, some of the really distinguished alums of YPAS have become international phenomenons. The first one that pops into my head is Nicole Scherzinger.
Nicole, Sarah Gettelfinger. I mean, we have a young man coming into town next week, John Keane, who has his own dance company now. He graduated in 2000.
Yeah. Cheyenne Mize, who's going to be CJ Cumberland's guest next week.
So many of our alums are very, very successful in their venues.
That's because you've given them the training.
Well, they teach me every day. I go.
Wonderful.
How do I get them to that next level? And they challenge me.
I bet. And you challenge them. And that's why I want you to watch the clip on YouTube that's entitled The American Dance Machine Quadrille from Can-Can. She does falling splits. I don't know whether you'd even attempt that at this point.
Oh, no more. No more.
But it was amazing
I tell my
students,
I'm going to show you this just once.
Just
so
once.
Watch.
Watch carefully.
Well, the great thrill for me was learning that dance. I learned it from Gwen Verdon.
Oh, my goodness.
Who was the original
redhead
in it and doing hello, Michael.
It's okay. Whatever.
I'm sorry.
It was another great person.
Too many names.
Too many names.
Great choreography.
But Gwen Verdon taught that to you.
Yes,
amazing.
She did.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to have you back again and talk again about YPAS and more, and bring one of your students with you.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And reminisce some more about some of the greats that you have worked with. But thanks for taking the time to come in and talk to us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And check the YPAS website.
Yes, we have a whole season coming up. We have the New Works Festival, and then after dance concert, I'll be directing the spring play, which is called Stage Door, which is all about aspiring young actors.
Perfect. And you're going to have to talk to me about the new series Smash, because I want to know how true to life it is.
It's not true at all.
We'll catch that after the show.
It's television.
So Gail Benedict, thanks so much for coming in to see us, and you can talk to her by checking out the YPAS website. You can email, talk to her, and find out more about what she does, as well as what all the great teachers and fabulous students at YPAS do. Thanks for coming in and being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now these musicians are far more than a couple of newcomers to the music scene in Louisville. We have June Kelly Roy and Commander Mike Mitchell. They are a fantastic duet known as Take Two. And let's hear your favorite. Just pull out one of the favorites, because I haven't given you a real chance to do a whole piece yet. So which one do you want to do?
Is this our chance to do a whole piece?
That's your chance to do a whole piece.
Frim Fram Sauce.
I'd love that.
Okay.
All right. June Kelly Roy and Commander Mike Mitchell, Take Two.
I don't like French fried potatoes, red ripe tomatoes. I'm never satisfied. I want the Frim Fram sauce with the Austin fake, with shafafa on the side. I don't like pork chop and bacon. That won't awaken my appetite inside. I want the Frim Fram sauce with the Austin fake, shafafa on the side. Now you know, girls, we really got to eat, and a girl, she should eat right. 5 will get you 10. I'm gonna feed myself right tonight. I don't want fish cakes and rye bread. You heard what I said, waiter, please. Want mine fried? I want the Frim Fram sauce with the Austin fake, with shafafa on the side. Play it, Commander. boy gotta eat, and a girl, she should eat right. 5 will get you 10. I'm gonna feed myself right tonight. I don't want fish cakes and rye bread. You heard what I said, waiter, please. I want mine fried. I want the frim sauce with the awesome fay, with shafafa on the side. Give me that frim sauce with the awesome fay, with shafafa on the side, with shafafa on the side.
Yahoo! I absolutely love it. June, Kelly, Roy, and Commander Mike Mitchell, what absolutely fabulous musicians. They're providing the whole hour of live music for us, and we sure appreciate you guys. Apparently, you two know each other.
Yes.
Does anybody know? And does Pat, do you know June or Mike?
I've heard you.
Have you guys met?
You.
So this is Dr. Pat Murphy. This is Sandy Montgomery. June Kelly Roy, Commander Mike Mitchell.
So good to meet you guys.
Thank you. You too. Dr. Pat remembers me.
I love that. That's fantastic. Aww. Good for you guys.
One of my all-time favorites.
Of course. Aww. Sandy and June are two kindred spirits because they are both the happiest, most upbeat people I know, in spite of whatever happens. So thank you both for being shining lights for all of us.
You are so welcome.
Every single day.
You are so welcome. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here with you
I am so
tonight.
excited. We've been talking about doing this for quite a while.
Yes, we have.
And the studio is very comfortable and cozy, and it gets smaller when we have more people in it. So now I've moved the laptop to the lap, which is where a laptop is supposed to go.
Oh, there you go.
But I want to invite you to listen in for a little while to some really great information about what it's like to survive cancer, which was supposed to have killed you years ago. And that's Sandy Montgomery's story. And then Dr. Pat Murphy is going to chime in a few times, and we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about pain management and the effects that these laws that have recently been passed in Kentucky have on the pain management of patients. So let's talk to Sandy first. You literally have incurable cancer.
I do.
According to everything that everybody says. But here you are, how many years later, after starting this research trial with Gleevec, still living with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
Exactly, and it's not Gleevec that I did.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. I ended up doing what is now called Bexar.
Bexar.
Yes.
And so how many years ago did you start that treatment, Sandy?
You know what? I did it 2 years into my cancer.
Yes.
And I was at I had to go to Stanford.
Right.
That's the only place that it was being offered. And it wasn't named Bexar yet. It was a clinical trial.
Right. So nobody knew exactly what was in it.
Right. Well, they had a good idea.
Sure.
And they'd been testing, but, it got to Stanford. And when I came there, they said, you are a perfect candidate for this.
Amazing.
Isn't it?
It is.
So I called my doctors here, who are wonderful as well. And Dr. Comer said, you go do it.
Go to Stanford.
And that, takes away from what they're going to get, So he's very, very generous and, helped me to do the right thing.
Absolutely. And so you literally had to transplant yourself to the West Coast for how long?
Well, we were out there back and forth over the period of 2 years.
Amazing.
Yes. And what a great place to have to go to get treatment.
Yes.
Palo Alto, it's close to Napa, San Francisco. And so on many of the days that I, would have to be in the hospital and then I'd get a break for a week, my wonderful parents took care of the girls who were so young at that time.
Yes.
And so we took little side trips.
Very cool.
And even if I wasn't feeling great, I could ride, and lie down in the car and look at the redwood trees.
Oh, beautiful.
It was just an amazing experience because of the fact as well that it worked.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it has been a few years later, I had a slight relapse, but the doctor that invented the medicine tells me that he doesn't count that. And he believes I actually went to visit him recently after my daughter graduated college.
Yes.
I was like, I need to go see him, hug him, kiss him, thank him for helping me make this.
Yes.
And so I did.
Because you didn't expect to see her graduate from college.
No, that was not in the cards.
Yes.
And so I drove to see him in Michigan.
Amazing.
And he's a major, major researcher. And he looked over everything because I thought, well, as long as I'm going, I may as well take you everything.
That's right.
And he said, and he didn't have to say this, he thinks that I'm cured.
Well, we agree with that.
Yeah, and
We're all
this is
gonna
an
agree.
incurable cancer, so I was just jumping up and down.
I can imagine.
I'm like, what can I do for you?
Spread the word. And one of the things that you have been spreading the word
Yes.
about is the pain management that goes with
Absolutely.
cancer and many other things has brought you to Dr. Pat Murphy.
Oh, and what a gift.
Good.
You know?
And we're going to let him talk to us a little bit about this law that's been recently passed that you brought to my attention.
Yes.
Dr. Murphy, they call it the pill mill law. What's that about?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show.
I'm grateful you're here.
And letting me just sit next to this amazing person right here.
She is amazing.
And
right.
I told Sandy that I'm here really to support her in this regard. We've done a program together at Gilda's Club, actually.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing person, an amazing resource for anybody who can get in touch with her.
Yes, she is.
And learn from her journey, because
Yes.
it is fantastic.
Aw, thanks, Doc.
Oh, thank you. Well, as far as the pill mill law goes, what a pill mill refers to is basically a factory where people can arrive and leave the door with a handful of pills or prescription medications for cash usually. And there's been a few practices in Kentucky and other states that
Yes.
have done this,
Yes.
made a lot of money doing it. It's a black eye on medicine. It's against the law. It's a horrible practice, and it needs to be eradicated completely.
But what's the immediate impact on your practice, on your patients, of this law that was passed by the Kentucky legislature?
Well, what has happened is that in order to address this horrible issue, they've passed a law that is very, very cumbersome and very comprehensive, to the tune that what used to be about 2 pages of regulations is now literally almost 100 pages
Incredible.
or more of regulations. And imagine you're not necessarily a pain specialist, but just a normal doc out there trying to treat people. And now you've got hundreds of pages of regulations that if you mess up on them, you could lose your license.
Holy smoke.
You could then not be able to practice medicine, things that you've worked all your life to do. And then most importantly, not be able to take care of your patients.
Yeah.
So a lot of doctors have very much cut back on prescribing pain medicine. So in a sense, the supply then of prescription drugs for abuse has gone down at the expense of patients, who I call the silent sufferers,
Yes,
because
who need it.
most people are not like Sandy. They're willing to talk about it. Most people are, in a sense, and they shouldn't be, but ashamed that they take these medications. And
Right.
it's wrong to feel that way, because it's very legitimate to take it. But these silent sufferers now are paying the price as these prescription drugs go away. But ironically, in another tragic twist, the abusers have turned from prescription drugs to heroin.
To illegals. Yeah.
And now heroin has skyrocketed in this city.
I'm amazed, and I was astonished to learn that every 19 minutes, somebody in the U.S. dies from a drug overdose. So how many of those are related to prescriptions, and how many are those related to illegals, just generally?
Well, the vast majority of prescription overdoses are due to what we call polypharmacy. In other words, there's multiple drugs involved. Usually it's alcohol,
Yep.
a sedative like a Valium-type drug,
Sure.
benzodiazepine,
Sure.
maybe an opioid too. Most of them have been acquired illegally from the
Right.
black market. For a patient to overdose on appropriately prescribed medications is extremely unusual. Also, for a patient who's taking the medications appropriately, to become addicted is extremely unusual.
Wow.
And if physicians could learn how to screen patients properly,
Right.
that's the key right there.
It is.
Finding out who's at risk. That's why the Medical Society has taken the first step in this. We've started what's called the ROPE course, or the Responsible Opioid Prescribing Essentials. And it's not just for physicians. We're going to start opening up to the public at large.
Great.
They can call the Medical Society at 589-2001.
Very good.
589-2001, and inquire about that. But we're going to open this up to interested people in the community, as well as the physicians. They will get the education they need. They will get the continuing medical education required by the law. They have to get this education. We'll help them get that. And most importantly, they'll learn how to screen patients properly, keep it safe, and address this problem from the ground floor, and that's with education.
You know what? I can see the potential for doing an entire show about just what you have to talk about, right, Sandy?
Are you kidding?
I mean, Pat's got a huge amount of knowledge, and I also, interestingly, interviewed a veterinarian who does hospice care. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be fun to do a show that had half of it dedicated to pain management and that kind of stuff in humans, and the other half in pain management in animals?
Oh, and that's so
we're
important
big animal
too.
lovers, aren't we?
Oh, are you kidding? My little Sammy, my little Shih Tzu.
I know. You don't want
She's
them to
my third
hurt.
daughter.
I know. That's true. Well, speaking of your daughters now, Jack and Whitty really took the bull by the horns, so to speak, when you got cancer, and they decided to turn their acting into action. How did that work?
Yes, they did. You know, throughout the beginning stages, children are just really, really overwhelmed with what's happening. They don't understand. And so I decided that it would be really good to put them into something where they could express themselves.
That's excellent.
So I put them in a theater group. And from that, they started doing little plays and shows at home.
In the basement?
In the basement. I actually had the parents of some of the kids in the show in my unfinished basement at that time.
Kids acting against cancer is what you call it.
Yes, and it has just blown up. And now these kids are such a huge group, and they are a 501c3 charity. They give locally to cancer resource centers here.
To the tune of over $300,000.
Yes, they have raised well over $300,000.
Yeah.
And in the last, 11 years.
Isn't that amazing?
And yes.
And they've moved up in the world, too, because when I was down doing a project for Owsley Brown III at the Kentucky Center for the Arts, these guys were in the mechs. So they're now in a legitimate theater environment performing
no more basement.
All kinds of wonderful shows. And KAAC, Kids Acting Against Cancer, will continue, I believe, to do programs. And it's proliferated down through the next generation.
Yes, indeed. The baton has been passed. Any help that I had to give them as children, now that they are adults, I do nothing.
Isn't that amazing?
From getting the rights for the show, to meeting with the Kentucky Center, to the media.
Incredible.
It has been unbelievable. So I'm very, very proud, Mama.
I know you are.
And very proud of the whole group.
And I have to tell you that Dr. Murphy told me that you were one of the most positive and happy people that he knows. So that's a big compliment. Dr. Murphy, the Greater Louisville Medical Society is glms.org, and the number again, 589-2001. You're the incoming president. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Well, congratulations.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be wonderful. And he's going to be doing all kinds of great things, but I'm going to ask you to come back. Will you come back for a longer segment that we can disseminate more information about pain management and about addiction and things that can, basically change your life for the better or for the worse, depending on how you treat prescription medication and illegals?
Yes. It would be my honor to do that.
I would love to have you. Thank you very much, Dr. Pat Murphy from Murphy Pain Center. And, of course, Sandy Montgomery, the sunshine of my life, who's just always the sweetest and most wonderful friend. And I'm just so grateful you had the time. And you've been battling this bronchitis for weeks.
I have. And my doctors questioned me coming out, and I said, I got a commitment, and I need to share some things with the people.
Well, God bless you for doing it. And you sent beautiful flowers, too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sunflowers are happy flowers, and so that's, kind of Kids Acting Against Cancer's signature flower.
I love it. Reminiscent of you. Thanks for being with us today, Sandy and Dr. Pat Murphy. Sure appreciate you guys both. And, we're going to just ask you, if you will, guys, just play a little bit, because I'm going to do a quick intro for next week. So just a little music for me without any singing. This is Commander Mike Mitchell. June Kelly Roy is with him. They are Take Two. And next Monday, which is January the 28th, the month is almost over. I know, on Take It From Tara, our musical guest is going to be Mark Southard, who's a wonderful musician, guitar player, ukulele player. He's going to sing for us, too. Colonel Laura Tucker of the Girl Scouts of Kentuckiana is joining us to not only promote their delicious cookies, which are going to be on sale soon. You've been there, haven't you, Sandy?
Oh, yeah.
But also an event that raises a ton of money for Girl Scouts by chefs incorporating cookies into their recipes. And it's called Desserts First. And you're positively sick by the time you leave this event. And I've helped MC it and eaten my way around
I need to be there.
the Commonwealth Center. You do. You must come.
I shall.
By the way, too, this is something fun. The Vagina Monologues is going to be performed on Valentine's Day, the 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's called V-Day around the world. And I have fulfilled a lifelong dream of being cast in the Vagina Monologues. Yes, I have. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to invite everybody to attend.
Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be wonderful. And we're going to be talking to the director, Barb O'Daniel Munger, who is taking us in all kinds of directions about the Vagina Monologues.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it's part of U of L's V-Day. Thank you. And Barb is going to talk to us about not only what we can do for the Vagina Monologues as far as being an audience, but how you can participate in V-Day all over the city, all over the state of Kentucky. Valentine's Day is the big day. Shannon Fauver is a Crescent Hill attorney who knows just about everything there is to know about the law. So if you want to send me questions this week on tara@crescenthillradio.com, we'll get her to answer them for you next week. And, you know, broad practice of law, we'd love to have your questions. And email those to tara@crescenthillradio. And Kathy Schmidt's going to join us from the Crescent Hill Trading Company, and she's going to tell us how she was named the best place to find furniture in the South. She also has graciously provided me with the decorations for our set here on Take It From Tara. So that's all next Monday, the 28th, on Take It From Tara. And now we have time for one more great tune from you guys as we go out. So June, please join Mike. Take Two, June Kelly Roy and Commander Mike Mitchell.
I'm going to do a little bluesy thing for you called Gee Baby, Ain't I Good to You? What makes me treat you the way that I do? Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? There's nothing in this whole world too good for a boy like you. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? I bought you a fur coat for Christmas, a diamond ring, big Cadillac car, gas, and everything. Love makes me treat you the way that I do, baby. Ain't I good to you? I'll lay it on his mic.
Give your dollar a squeezy. The girl's got the answer, you better believe me. Take it from Tara.